your safety and the safety of others, please stand behind the yellow line. Woo! Move. It is incredibly hot outside. Humid. That's what it's called, it's humid. Heat is just. California breeze ain't breezing too well today. It's all good though. Let me see. Oh yes. Whew. As long as you don't fall back. In my world, a lot of you niggas won't survive, man. A whole lot of niggas will not survive in my world. A whole lot of. There's a glitch in the system. Ain't no glitch in no system, man. Quiet, ho. Ain't no such thing as a glitch in the system. Our God never makes no glitch in no system. What you think? You can always tell how a person believes. You see? You have to understand that the way a person believes speaks more about their God than themselves. We all have the same God, but different levels of understanding. The stronger your faith, the more you believe in God. Let it pass. There's a noise coming. I understood the song. It is equivalent to attending school. We all in the same class. We all taught by the same teacher. But yet, we seem to comprehend it differently. You understand? We seem to have a different perspective, different comprehension of what is going on. It is not based on what the teacher told you or how you learn. No, it's not based on what the teacher taught you. It's how you perceive what was taught to you. That's the reason why your faith is so low. You see, if you were to pay better attention and utilize the senses that was given to you, you could come to a better understanding that you are a reflection of the things that you do. Let it pass. A few punches to the face, it ain't nothing. You feel me? So if we was on this teacher in the class of life itself, and our teacher is God, and I tend to have more faith in my teachings, which made me operate a little better than you did, what does that tell you? That you didn't listen that well. You feel me? And life is not about obtaining material. Let it pass.
Keeping our stations and buses clean. Use the provided
trash can. You see, life is not about obtaining death materials. It's not about obtaining a car, which is death, clothes, which is death, things that are not alive. You feel me? You can't take materials that is dead and use it as a form of an expression. That's not life. Let it pass, see? It be like that sometimes. It do. It do be like that sometimes, you feel me? It's shit. Same things that you say will ache people. It will irritate their soul. Because they feel guilty of what you've said. And instead of reflecting on themselves, asking themselves the question, why do I feel the way that I feel? Why does this thing or word that he said irritate me? They tend to laugh, because everybody can laugh. I could just say, hee hee. They tend to make those kind of hee hees and ha ha's. to calm the nervousness in them. You feel me? It's like when they tell you that you're supposed to be woke, but most of y'all go to sleep. Well, that's how you go to sleep. You go to sleep by ignoring what you heard, and you don't question it through yourself. You feel me? So your teacher, who is teaching the same subject in class itself, which is life itself, you feel me? The class of life. Our teacher is God. You tend to perceive it in a different way. That's the reason why you think you can do certain things without it being consequences. You think you can treat people how you want. Just because the person's not replying back to you, feel like I can still do it. That's a childish thinking. But it's not even the subject of the day. I just wanted to put that out there. The subject of the day is in my world. What it means to be a man in my world and what it means to be a woman in my world. See, we all have a world, and collectively we come together to have an understanding of a world that we live in. It stinks. The way that we see is a perception in our head. You feel me? This is the reason why I started with what are you really learning? What are you paying attention to? What are you taking in for you to see the way you see? You see by the information that is in your head. If you believe everybody's out for you, then you operate in that form. But if you believe like God himself, and you carry yourself like an organic God, like an OG himself, then you know God said that besides me, there was nobody. I am the one. I wanted to make an agreement. I wanted to make a covenant with somebody. But I looked beside me and I couldn't find nobody but myself. You feel me? That's God. This is God's word in the Bible itself. And even if you don't believe in the Bible, take what it says for instance. I wanted to make an agreement. I wanted to make a covenant with somebody, but I couldn't find nobody like myself. So I had to make an agreement with myself. So in turn, I wouldn't break that agreement with myself because I wouldn't disappoint myself. And even if I made an agreement with you, I wouldn't break that covenant because I've already made a covenant with myself that I wouldn't be dishonest to myself. So even if you break that agreement, I still got to go through with that agreement of what I said that I am. This is the reason why I told you, even if a girl acts like a hoe, you don't treat her like a hoe. You still respect the agreement that you made with yourself, that you wouldn't disrespect somebody. You have to treat others the way you want to be treated, even though
For everyone's safety, backpacks, bags, cars, and other belongings out of the aisle.
a clear path is a safe path. You heard that. So if a girl or a man is not acting responsible, is not being responsible, responding to his ability, that's what it's called, responsibility. You still have to respond to your ability because you already made a covenant with yourself that beside you there's nobody else. There's nobody made like you. The DNA is specifically for you. You feel me? People wouldn't understand that because they're not in my world. They tend to have contracts that they break all the time. They tend to set rules that they don't even follow. That's the reason why you have to be committed and converted with yourself. You have to have a covenant with yourself that these things cannot be broken. And you have every reason to break it. You will. You be right to break it. I had an agreement with you. He didn't meet his requirements, so I broke my agreement. You feel me? You ain't break the agreement. You broke your own agreement with yourself. You feel me? If I said I was going to go through with it, I'll have to go through with it. Even if it takes me a long time to go through with it, I will do that. And that's how things go. Besides me, there's nobody else but myself. My fingerprints belong to me. My footprints belong to me. My DNA belongs to me. My voice belongs to me. Most can mimic it, but it will never be the original. You feel me? So in my world, man, we all talk about the man in my world and the woman in my world. First, we're going to start with the woman itself and how we give her so much praise. You feel me? A woman is a person who gives birth to a child. She creates the bones inside her womb. That's how powerful she is. Then, after she births it out, she carries it for 9 months, which is crucial. Which is, what is it called? Let's just call it pain. It's crucial pain, you feel me? Then after that, when she gives the birth to the child, she births a child which she makes strong without fearing that that child will one day grow strong enough to overpower her. That's grace. So the woman in my world has to understand this substance about her, that she is birthing a nation, that the nation of men or women, but I'm just talking about from the sex of male and female. If she was to birth a male, she will feed that male to be bigger than her. And of course, most women is thinking protection, but you remember, you are a group. Although you are an individual, you still among a group of females. And now you birthing a child who can one day overpower you. But yet you still birth that child with grace and love and caring, without having any fear whatsoever that this person or this thing or this man or this male will overtake you. And this is what women have been doing since the beginning of time. As long as humans been on earth, which is about 30 million years. Don't believe what they tell you. We are not 60,000 years old. You can't tell me that humans are 60,000 years old and you separating different humans. Every time we mutate, they tell us that they start to count from that mutation. No, it is still a human. Us human, we've been here for millions of years. We just mutated several times on different continent and different place. The environment determines who you are, just for the survival of the human itself, the survival of a human being. I know my voice is kind of low because I've been talking all day. I'm sorry. Pardon me. So the woman in my world understand this essential about herself, that through her flexibility, she cannot be solid. She had to be created flexible. You feel me? So she can withstand all the wind and everything else that comes her way. This is the reason why she is delicate, she's fragile, she's soft, and yet at the same time, she's strong enough to birth a child. I mean, she makes a whole bone in her body. She creates a whole little baby in her body. Some of these babies coming out that pussy hole and you like, how the fuck this little nigga came out of you? It's a magic in itself. So the woman in my world has this persona about her that is very high in regard. She has to carry herself a certain way. She cannot mingle in men's affair. She only created men to give her inspiration to keep going on. The man is the stronger version of her that she pushed out into this world. You'll see that good. The man is the stronger version of herself. It's a reflection of who she is. It's part of her creation that birthed this man, but yet the man is going to grow to be stronger than her, which can overpower her with all the might and muscles and the build and the stronger bones that he has. And yet she has no fear. That's why there's always, when two men are fighting, there's always seems to be a woman in the background screaming, and she coming into the fight, she's out of place. Yet she has no fear. That's not my bus. Hold on. Wait a minute. You feel me? So the woman in my world is powerful. She knows her place. You feel me? She would not argue with another man. She wouldn't. She wouldn't argue with another man. She wouldn't overstep her boundaries. She already know who she is as a person, so she doesn't have to overreact to get attention. You feel me? She's as equal to the man and the God himself. Besides her, there was nobody. She don't have to put on a show. She does not have to put on a show, you feel me? She knows her place. She don't have to start an argument with her man. Every time a woman questions you, that means that she has lost faith in who you are. Whenever you're having too much argument with your woman, the best thing for you to do is to give her a reassurance of who you are and let her know that she's not to argue with you. She has lost faith in you. That's why she's arguing with you. She's bringing the best out of you. She knows what's already in you, even if she doesn't know intuitively. You feel me? People hate for you to talk like this because this is a different kind of knowledge. They don't teach this shit in class. So she will provoke you to bring the best out of you. You feel me? A woman is supposed to nurture you. When she nurtures you, she's supposed to raise you enough. You see, it's just like planting a seed. That's how we do. We plant our seed, which is a sperm, in the soil. And what does the soil do? It grows it into a plant. And what does that do? Eventually, after a while, the fruit falls off the tree to create its own. And that's what a woman is supposed to do. She's supposed to raise a man to be strong enough to start his own without having fear of being neglected or being left alone. You feel me? That's the same thing as neglect. Without having the fear of neglecting. You feel me? This is what she's supposed to. That's what a good mother is defined as. A bad mother is a mother who raised her child to be solely dependent upon her. That when she's not there, the child suffers. No, she's supposed to equip him with the necessary weapons enough, which is tools, knowledge, and everything else, grace, and everything else like that, so he can go out on his own, or she can go out on her own and start her own nurturing and everything else. It's supposed to be the continuation of who she is as a woman. So we are basically esteeming what the natural woman was, and that's what we displaying on different forms or different spectrum of who she is or what she could be, the lowest version and the smallest version. See, when you start talking like this, they start calling cops and everything else like that. Be like that, you feel me? This is the second time I've seen police stop a car. They're just nervous, that's all it is. Pay them no mind. They're only exhibiting something that's within them. So the woman does not have to be overly explosive, overly barren on anybody. She's supposed to have enough confidence within herself that she would not. She can sit on the throne by herself without having any form of neglecting. She's able to be on her own because just like the Creator itself, she looked around her. Beside her, there's nobody else. So she does not need compassion, or she does not need support. It's nice to have her husband can give her that and everything. I'll tell you the role of a man very soon in my world. You feel me? But I'm talking about the essential of the woman herself. You feel me? The woman knows how to bring the best out of even Christ. Look at let's take a look at the story in the Bible when Mary approached Christ and told Christ, "Hey, we ran out of wine. I need you to turn this water into wine." Christ was like, "Woman, it is not my time yet." You feel me? But guess what? Even though he said that, he still did it. He did it because she brought the best out of him. She knew what was already in him, which he already knew because he was God in human flesh. So that's what a woman is supposed to do. She's supposed to provoke you to bring the best out of you, not insulting you in any form of shape, but to motivate you to bring the best out of you. She's the soil that streams upward and brings out many fruits. That's what Mary did in that scenario. You feel me? This is what the woman does in my world. You feel me? She will sit down and speak to you. She will understand you. She know how to express herself because she has no fear of being laughed at. Women express themselves naturally, as you can see in this world. They do. So that woman is supposed to express herself naturally. She's not supposed to involve herself in low vibrational activities because it contaminates who she is as a person. So she has to be very eloquent. She has to stay to herself. She has to protect her energy so that she's not contaminated. And we all know when the soil is contaminated or any form of fruit is contaminated, it contaminates the rest of the group. So she has this awareness about herself. You heard? You feel me? She's also a very curious being. She's an electron. She's the one that operates and circles around the man. Anything that operates and circles around anything else, it's like an orbit. That's what it does. The electron in the atom or the very nucleus of us, the electron, which is the woman's orbit around an atom in a nucleus. You feel me? She's the one that gives you atmosphere. She's the one that controls temperature, climates, your mood, everything else like that. She will control. She has the power to provoke greatness out of you. You feel me? So in my world, the woman is well equipped with this knowledge where she doesn't have to do too much. She's not going to step out of her place. She's not going to overstep her boundary. She knows who she is already. She's eloquent in every form of shape. Now, I'll speak more on the woman. We're going to quickly go into the man. Now, the man in my world has to stand firm. You feel me? There has to be moral compass about the man himself. You feel me? You are the inspiration of a woman. You came out of a woman's thought. If you think of it in biological sense. You feel me? She's the double X chromosome and you the XY chromosome. She made you out of her. You are an inspiration to her. You're supposed to be the rock. You're supposed to be the foundation of her. You feel me? There's a few things that a lot of men do not know. See? As a man, you're not supposed to pay attention to what other men are doing. You're supposed to be so occupied in doing what you need to do as a man that you have no time to pay attention to what another man is doing. And if you have completed, which is impossible for us to even complete a task in this world, because even if I gave you 200 years, it still wouldn't be enough to complete your task. So you're supposed to be so involved and engulfed in what you're doing that you have no time or opportunity to pay attention to the next man. You ain't even supposed to look up and see what the next man is doing. You're not. You don't see that? Hold on. You're supposed to be so occupied with yourself, working, moving forward, creating, building a character of your own, building a strong personality that you don't have time to fool around with what other men are doing. You see, if a man that you see that's doing that is a direct reflection of where he came from. When I say where he came from, it's the woman that he came from. Adam showed that kind of weakness himself, but we're not going to go through that, you feel me? Because Adam was the first man. He was the first X chromosome. Eve, which came out of Adam, which meaning a cell splitting himself, which became the XX chromosome. So the first humans were Cain and Abel, which was the XY chromosome, which later on just repeated the cycle of things. But there can never be another X chromosome anyway again, because the replica The replica can never make the original. It is only a copy. That's what an RNA does. An RNA copies the DNA and makes a replica of what the DNA is. It repeats itself. That's what it does every time. It's a replica. So even when I have a child, the child is going to be a mutation of me. It doesn't mean that he's not me. He is me. This is what scientists get it wrong. They say Homo sapiens are like 600 to 70,000 years old. No, you can't count from the replica. You have to count from me. He's still a member of who I am. He's just a mutation of me. So every time we have a child, that's a mutation. So we humans are about 30 million years old. We are a replica of the original man himself. Maybe more. We probably like 60 million. It's not a far stretch. You can't say human, you feel me? Even though the name human is a replica name, because Adam means men. So to put the Hugh and the man in there tells you that's a name of a replica. You feel me? That's a name of a mutation. You feel me? So even if we go further and further back, we can see that we humans have been here for millions of years. But I'm going off topic. In my world, the man is supposed to be the foundation of it. He's supposed to be the rock. You feel me? He is the rock. He's the foundation. He's the one that makes things move. He's the bus that's coming. I gotta buy a ticket. You feel me? We gonna talk more on the man himself. You feel me? I'll holler at y'all later.